Hey, what's up everybody? It's the Crypto Ginger here. Just thought I would take a quick moment to discuss with everyone what we've been seeing as far as this negative impact with the entire cryptocurrency market. And also as well, if you've been paying attention to the stock market, you will notice that the Dow has dropped now 2 days in a row, roughly around 1,300 points, which is indicating major sell-offs. Those sell-offs, I would imagine, has been part of the reason why we've seen sell-offs in the entire cryptocurrency market cap just as well. Yesterday, I did a video on the first Dow plunge when we hit roughly around a loss of 800 points. And the market cap at that point in time was sitting at just over $216 billion for all the cryptocurrencies. Now, as of today, the entire cryptocurrency market cap is just over $198 billion. So we've seen just about $20 billion removed from the entire cryptocurrency market cap. So that's been a huge impact, again, on the entire market cap for cryptos. Now, as far as stocks are concerned, I've seen a lot of people asking the same question. Why was the plunge taking place for stocks? Well, I found this article that emphasizes three key reasons why we saw that happening. The first reason was interest rates are rising. Over the past decade, Wall Street became addicted to easy money. Unbelievably low interest rates from the Federal Reserve encouraged investors to take risks by piling into stocks. Lower borrowing costs meant higher corporate profits. That trend is now reversing, albeit for mostly good reasons. The American economy is really strong, and the Fed's is raising rates to keep inflation in check to make sure economy doesn't overheat. The second reason is the Fed is sticking to its guns. So with them not only going about increasing the interest rates there, it has absolutely put a bad taste in the mouth of those who are stock investors. And of course, that right there is probably one of the reasons why we're seeing quite a bit of money being pulled out of the entire stock market itself. So with the Fed sticking to their guns, we might not see this be the most positive thing for the next week or so, maybe even for the next several months. Who knows? I know that something I read previously, and I think I mentioned this in my last video, is that the last time we had a pretty big decline in the stock value, it took roughly around 7 months to actually recover again. So it could be quite some time before we see recovery in the stock market. Now, interesting enough, the last part of this right here is that investors are worried about debt and China. The article states that rates are going up because the U.S. government is selling more treasuries to pay for the soaring federal deficit. Washington is borrowing heavily to pay for the corporate tax cut and a surge of government spending. Then it goes to state that, and then there's the trade war between China and the United States, the world's two largest economies. So we do know that there is that particular issue there between China and the United States. It also states here that the tit-for-tat tariffs threaten to hurt business confidence and delay investment. Citing the trade war, the IMF on Monday cut its 2019 growth forecast for the United States and China. That won't help jittery investors. So again, more reasons as to why we're starting to see investors pulling away from the stock market right now. And I would imagine that when you have information about China and the U.S. and these particular tariffs, and it's affecting the judgment of these particular investors of stocks, I would imagine that mixed with things such as this article right here that actually talk about China has 19 ways to kill Bitcoin. This was actually based off of a paper done by research from Princeton University and Florida International University, where they mentioned several different ways that China could actually get rid and kill Bitcoin entirely. The most focused on of those attacks is the 51% attack. And it says here, the paper details the ease with which a 51% attack could be carried out, given that the Bitcoin mining ecosystem is heavily centralized. Keep that in mind, guys. And it says, according to researchers, over 80% of Bitcoin mining is performed by 6 mining pools, of which 5 are located in China. While there is no single pool with the capacity to carry out such an attack on its own, the fact that 74% of the combined mining power is located in China makes it plausible that this attack can be carried out if several pools decide or are forced to ally. So that's the scary part. When you have that many mining pools that are in one location, under that kind of dictatorship there, it could be one of those situations where if they wanted to, the government of China wanted to enforce something to do a 51% attack, they could do that right off the bat. And that is a scary thought. So again, seeing these kind of articles doesn't help the sentiment when it comes to cryptocurrencies. Something else I'm going to point out here, and this has been agitating me so bad lately when I saw this here. I'm going to go to Twitter here because I saw this article. And then I went to the Twitter feed about this. Now, Nouriel Roubini, I'm not too familiar with who he is regarding how involved he is with the cryptocurrency community or even stocks or even what he knows about investments, other than he's part of the Stern School of Business here. And I'm bringing up this article because this is a paper written as far as a testimony to the hearing of the U.S. Senate Committee on Banking by this gentleman here, Nouriel Roubini. And what he states here is that crypto is the mother of all scams and now busted bubbles, while blockchain is the most overhyped technology ever, no better than a spreadsheet database. I'm just going to say outright, I don't think this guy has any clue what he is talking about. Yes, he's trying to make this radical comparison between blockchain and a spreadsheet database, but there is so much more to the entirety of blockchain itself. And if you are someone who has looked in and done your own research regarding Bitcoin alone, you will know that the blockchain for Bitcoin is a lot more structured and detailed than just simply a spreadsheet and database. Now, it's interesting. I feel, this particular sentiment towards this guy, like I'm feeling right now, other people have expressed this as well. Eric Voorhees, as a matter of fact, responded to Mr. Roubini's tweet with his own tweet saying, "Fiat is the scam, Nouriel. Some of us are tired of it, so we're building an alternative. You're under no obligation to use it." And Eric Voorhees is correct by that, because fiat is something that was created by the feds. There's somebody who can actually create more. They can print money whenever they want, any day they want to, out of thin air. You cannot do that with cryptocurrency. You can't just simply create more cryptocurrencies out of thin air. There are a set amount for majority of most of your top performing coins out there. Think of Bitcoin. There was only 21 million ever created. And even now, there's only 17 million that will ever be around right now until the rest of them are mined. And that's only because we know that there are going to be multiple Bitcoins lost forever. Because they're lost, that doesn't mean they're going to be recreated. They're gone forever. Again, cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin cannot be created just simply out of thin air. So when you have something like this right here, like fiat, which is something that can be created out of thin air any given time, and we have actually seen that as a 2008 bailout for when we basically had the crash for the stock markets and the housing crash of 2008, we had this particular bailout and it inflated the dollar's value. Any more of that, when you start creating more of that fiat currency, is just going to simply inflate the dollar more. Think about Venezuela and places like Turkey where they're dealing with hyperinflation with their fiat currency. This is absolutely crucial that you think about these types of things when you are looking to invest or take the approach of either investing or just simply holding on to your regular fiat currency. Right now, if you're in the U.S., your dollar is not even worth a full dollar just simply because of the fact that it's been so inflated. So the more it would become inflated, the less valuable it becomes. And so people are going to want to find an alternative to not lose any more value. And what better place to do that than cryptocurrencies? Now, mind you, I'm not a financial advisor, and none of what I say is financial advice. But when you look at things by comparison to what you have as far as fiat's concerned, alternatives such as cryptocurrencies make for a better particular avenue and path, an investment vehicle, if you will, to get into to maintain your value. So there are certain stocks that do that same thing. As of right now, the tech stocks aren't looking so good, so I wouldn't be looking at that. But interesting enough, when I say that, we actually see articles like this right here where there are people like strategists who say don't buy the dip yet for stocks. This is primarily focused on stocks. And then you see articles like this right here on the same day from people like Jim Cramer, again, it's all from CNBC, and he's telling people, hey, the time to buy stocks is on Friday after the massive sell-off. We are oversold. So you have to keep all of this in the right frame of mind and take it with a grain of salt, especially when you start seeing this kind of conflicting information. Don't buy. Buy. Don't buy. I mean, I don't mean to make a joke out of it, but it is interesting that this information did come out all at the exact same time. And so what do? Do you buy or do you not buy? Well, my guess would be you're going to have to do your own research. You're going to have to do your own due diligence. And if I can have any suggestion whatsoever in this, as far as like how I approach it, I would do things such as this right here, keeping a contrarian approach. Now, I'm going to go over this really quickly because I think this is important. It says the breakdown of contrarian investing is, as the name implies, a strategy that involves going against the grain of investor sentiment at a given time. The principles behind contrarian investing can be applied to individual stocks, an industry as a whole, or even entire markets. A contrarian investor enters the market when others are feeling negative about it. The contrarian believes that the value of the market or stock is below its intrinsic value and thus represents an opportunity. In essence, an abundance of pessimism among other investors has pushed the price of the stock below what it should be, and the contrarian investor will buy before the broader sentiment returns and the share prices rebounds. So again, this is not something that's a negative approach. You should absolutely use this as at least a tool when it comes to your own approach to investing there. Just at least try it on for size, or at least keep it in the forefront or the back of your mind, however you want to do it. But it is an approach that could potentially be beneficial for any type of investment strategy you have. Outside of that, I think that when it comes to what we've seen in the cryptocurrency market versus what we've seen in the stock market, I found this little Reddit post here that was talking about, someone said, time for crypto to shine as once again we head into a dirty banker's debt-fueled recession. I bring this up because the first comment is probably one that rings the most truest of all. It says the crypto market is going to crash right alongside a stock market crash. Crypto will be the first thing people cash out to pay for their bills after losing their jobs. Now, it does have a slight bit of humor, but it's also a slight bit of truth in all of that just as well. So we do have to keep that in mind here when it comes to, again, our types of thinking with investments, and especially what we've been seeing recently with not just cryptocurrencies again, but the stock market dropping and those major sell-offs. Another thing here I wanted to kind of emphasize as well, and this is kind of talking a little bit in regards to Ripple, XRP, things of that nature, but it says there are some investors who are long-term believers in the technology. They are further divided into two categories. The first category comprises of investors who buy and forget. They will check their investment in 3 to 5 years from now, which is totally fine if that's their strategy. The second category of investors buys for the long term, but they sell short term to accumulate more. These are mostly the whales. This is certainly more lucrative than buying and holding, but it requires a lot of skill. Then there are investors who are in it for the short or medium term. To them, Ripple XRP is just a cash cow to turn into a quick profit. They don't care about its fundamentals or long-term use case, which is also fine if that's their plan. Once you have a solid plan, it becomes easy to see the intent behind every move as you have already set aside your emotions. So I thought that was pretty important. It's a separate article, again, just kind of mentioning what was happening with the XRP price, and they just ended this article with that. And I just thought it was extremely important. I wanted to iterate that to you guys. Something I will end on when it comes to Ripple and XRP, because I do favor that company, and of course I do enjoy what I see regarding the Ripple community, and of course people that are invested in coins such as XRP. I enjoy that atmosphere because there's a lot in regards to the technology behind Ripple and the use case of XRP, and I think that in the very near future we could see a very strong projected timeline for what could happen for the price of XRP and what could potentially happen with the Ripple company, all the partnerships that they're trying to incorporate. And that leads me into this last article here. And this is talking about Ripple partner Santander expands its reach using Swift GPI. And the article, I'll just briefly talk about it. It says, there is a lot of buzz around Ripple and Swift concerning a possible partnership. However, this buzz around them has become more intense as Ripple's partner Santander partnered with SWIFT to launch its services in countries such as Argentina, Poland, Spain, and the United Kingdom. The announcement came in today. The Spanish banking giant also plans to expand its services to further countries in 2019. It's also important to know that there are high anticipations that Ripple may announce a breathtaking announcement during the forthcoming Sibos conference in 2018. And this will be held by SWIFT to take place in Australia. I mentioned in a previous video about this particular SWIFT conference and the fact that there's a possibility we could see a Ripple exhibit there. It has been emphasized just as well through other articles, other mediums as well. So we definitely want to keep that in mind. We want to make sure we're staying alert, maybe even doing a little bit more research on this to see if this is something that could come to fruition. As far as Ripple working in tandem, if you will, and like I said in one of my previous videos, with the company SWIFT. They're not there to disrupt SWIFT. More so, they're there to, for lack of a better way, again, tandem with them, working partnership with SWIFT. It would make the most amount of sense rather than simply just dismantling the entire SWIFT company and trying to restart as Ripple. So good news, I would imagine, in the upcoming weeks, months for Ripple, and of course even the XRP coin. I do know, again, we've mentioned it just at the beginning of this video, that all the cryptocurrencies are down. That definitely includes XRP. I believe is currently sitting at roughly around 38-39 cents. So however you want to see that particular price point, whether it's a negative sentiment or a positive sentiment, again, be a contrarian, if you will. If you see that the price is down, maybe this could potentially be a bonus for everybody. This could be that discounted moment that we were looking for once again. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I definitely enjoy having the dialogue. I have been with you guys. It's amazing. A lot of you guys out there are unbelievably smart when it comes to your knowledge with cryptocurrencies and Ripple and XRP and investments as well. So I like hearing that. I like keeping that up. Again, thank you for the dialogue and thank you for watching. Have a good night. And hey, if you enjoyed what you saw, please hit that like button. It definitely helps get this information out there to as many people as we possibly can. And also share this content out with everybody. And if you're new to this channel, please hit that subscribe button. This channel has been growing by leaps and bounds, and I could not have done it without you guys. If you really want to help this channel grow, please donate to my Patreon page. Even $1 a month would be amazing and would absolutely go right into my channel to make it more professional for you guys and allow me to create even more content. Thanks again for watching, guys, and have a wonderful day.